People, I have the Rotolight Titan X2 in the house. Very, very impressive light. I reached out to Rotolight and during lockdown to ask them, please, if I could spend lockdown with this beautiful light. The thing I didn't think about was the fact that due to the lockdown, actually doing production shoots was going to be nigh on impossible. So I've invited my young children into the house.
Dad?
Yeah? To enable me to show you some of the features of this particular light.
You're acting.
Yeah. What Rotolight have been able to do is watch what the market is doing and take advantage of what's possible with technology. This is literally cutting edge stuff that we get to now add to the production. So it's super well made, which makes it quite heavy, but it's designed for studio life or set life. It comes with an amazing box. When I saw that box arrive in the studio, you probably saw my Instagram post and I was like, ah! This thing was like beautiful. When I opened up the box, it had everything that I needed in it. The only thing I added a gooseneck because my studio wasn't able to accept the fitting that came with the light because my studio is big, but I don't have all of the higher end production gear. Breakout box here. You're able to mount this either on the back here, or as I did, I added the bracket that came with the actual light itself, with the Rotolight, mounted this on and added it to the stand, and it acted as a counterweight, which is useful because this is heavy. Make sure you're using a decent light stand. I added sandbags to my C-stand, then added this as a kind of counterweight as well, which was helpful. This is a big deal, right? I've used lights before where I've needed to go in and have a lesson on how to use the light, right? And do a workshop. But this thing works like a Apple device or an Android touch device. So it's intuitive. Where this is great is when you arrive on a location, you don't want to have to give people a training lesson on the actual light. You want them to be able to just use it, get it, and understand it. And this is how this works. It is an absolute beast, and I'm going to give you an idea now of what this thing can do. Now, I've got 4 stops of ND here because I have got skylights which would illuminate the room slightly. So I've put 4 stops of ND in order to reduce the light that shows in the image. The Titan is so bright that I'm able to add light into the image, and I absolutely love that. So right now we have the Titan set up at 100% set to a daylight white balance, and the diffusion is set to 0. I am just going to literally now start to affect the diffusion, and what you'll notice is as I turn the dial, you'll notice that the image the light in the image just gets smoother and wraps around the face a little bit more with less hot spots on the skin there. And an electrical current is essentially being sent through the panel at the front of the light, and it's become totally frosted now. So what's great here is that I've got the light really close to Charlotte, but you can imagine if I wanted to add diffusion to this particular shot, what I'd need to do is I'd need to add a sheet of diffusion with space between the light and the actual diffusion itself, and then I'd need space between that diffusion sheet and Charlotte. Space is not always an option. So to be able to have the diffusion directly built into the actual light itself is a massive advantage when it comes to space. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the white balance in the shot very, very easily, just simply by dragging across the touchscreen. I've got 3000 there. Simply slide my finger across to really beautiful blue hue there, which is now set at 10,000 as that white balance. I could pretty much do that in camera as a shot, but what you need to know is that there is a switch over there. It doesn't happen all the time, So I could just about get away with doing this in camera as a shot if I needed to do a transition. I am going to switch this now into RGB. So for many of you, if you're used to working in Photoshop, the values that you're used to working with are RGB values. So what the Titan enables you to do is to specifically choose those RGB values. So for example, you could understand the color palette of a brand or a company that you're working with and dial that value directly into the Titan so that you're able to then get a match. What I really love now as well is HSI. If I go over to HSI, I'm presented now with a slider, and this slider takes me through the color spectrum. So what I'm currently adjusting is I'm adjusting the hue, and it allows me really quickly to choose a color that works, and then I've got the ability to change the saturation, luminance, or I think of luminance, but actually it's intensity, HSI. So I can now dial down how bright that is. So it's brilliant because it's literally like I'm able to start painting with color. So really powerful. Often sensors have got this very slight difference between each camera sensor or manufacturer leaning in a particular direction. You can actually dial those in, and often cameras manufacturers will actually let you know what those offsets are, and you'll be able to put that straight into the light. If you are used to working with a very, very particular filter, and you've been used to working with Roscoe or Lee filters, you might know what that value is. So now being in a position where you could literally take that value, place that, insert that directly into the light. You may have gels over other lights and you want to know what that value is, right? You've purchased it. You could then take that value, place that into your light, and you don't need to use any gels on this light. You literally just dial it in. If I found something I really like, let's say I'm going to choose an RGB value, I can literally hold down preset for a number of seconds and then it asks me to save. Yes. And it's saved. Whatever changes I decide to make in future, I can now go directly in here and recall the preset that I've got. The other cool thing you've got on here is special effects. Of course, you know me, right? I absolutely love to play with special effects. So I'm going to move this light now. I'm going to move it around. One thing I would say is that the actual light itself is very heavy. Get to use effects like this, like lightning, that we can simply dial in and move through to police siren. The great thing as well with this panel is that the panel itself is two panels in one. So what that means is, if I zoom out here, one side is flashing as red, the other side is flashing as blue, and it's creating the two sides of the physical light that you'd normally have on top of, say, a police vehicle. Even with an effect like this, you're not limited to just the one speed of movement. 6 pulse here, 2 pulse, only red or only blue. So I've now added flame on there, which is great, giving me that really nice realistic flicker. I've got a blue LED light just casting a beautiful blue light over the top. There's nowhere near as much power that comes off the backlight. This is what's so unusual about this light, is power combined with the RGB is a very, very unusual mix. So great, just have a bit of a play here with the Titan set to full power on red. I've also taken off the diffusion so that the light itself is much sharper on the face. It's also spilling onto the background, saving me lighting that separately. I have got a light here set to full power, and you can just see how look at the proximity of this light in comparison to Charlotte, and you can see how actually little the effect is in comparison to the Titan, but over double the distance. So it just starts to give you a bit of an idea as to the power of this particular light, the flexibility and the options that are available with it. Many of the lights that are out right now, for example, the ARRI, the sky panels, they are dated technology. So this is so much more up to date, and it really shows. Thank you. So there we have it. I didn't get to use this on as many shoots as I would like, but let's see what time we have left before I need to return this baby back to a Rotolight. It is a light that I would love to have live here in the studio and actually have multiples of them. It's very, very future-proof, and what's great is it's also got the ability to update it through firmware because of the USB port on there as well, which means that this is a device. So really super impressed with it. Check it out, have a look, have a play. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching. There's a cut! Cut! Cut!